Hello and welcome to Farthest Frontier. Well, we just about managed to survive 2 winters so far. Now we've got 10 people out of a possible 12. And what I'm interested in is getting access to more things, although I've actually noticed already that my storage cart here is actually getting full. It can't cope with anything more. So, because part of the process of getting this town centre upgraded, getting us access to more buildings requires access to more storage. I think that's what I'm actually going to start with. So I've just got the game paused at the minute because I want to have a look, see what it is I can do. So I need to build a stockyard, so that'll take a bit of the pressure off the storage cart, because this can store things like these raw materials that we've got. So I need to pick somewhere. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to build this away from the actual town over there. Part of the problem already, I can see it's complaining of this. The area's just not flat. So I'm going to try and get them to flatten the area, see if that'll help. It doesn't always, but sometimes it can be useful. But the idea is I just want this far away from the town centre, because my plan is I want to get all the houses as close to the town centre as possible. All of the amenities and services to make everybody happy, and that's all part of the process of actually upgrading the town centre to get access to the higher tiers. So that's why I want to build these things not too far away, but far away, if you will. So at the moment, everybody's a bit busy chopping things down, trying to get the stone there. Looks like some of them are actually coming back to here, possibly. And they're just... No, that's interesting. So they've actually dumped off some logs there. It may well be they were just busy planning to do something, because I've noticed they can actually just dump things. Ah, no, that is actually the firewood splitter themselves. Interesting. They can just dump things and leave them lying around on the floor. But hopefully once they've cleared that area, I'll be able to... see there, I think that's the fisher. Is that the person who's doing the fishing? Yeah, they just dumped the fish on the floor. There's nowhere to put it, that's the trouble. Because the cart over here is more or less full. There's a lot of fish already in there. Okay, because that could be part of it. But at the moment the only storage I've got is this cart. And it's already causing problems because there's nowhere. There's not enough capacity for it to store everything, so... That's part of the reason, but also I've noticed sometimes they just change their mind. Oh, I need to do something, and they just drop things on the floor. The labourers then pick it up, so that's a firewood splitter. Where did they go? I'm trying to work out where my fish just suddenly went to. Okay. It's difficult to tell as those fish just disappeared. I don't know whether maybe they just rotted or something. I don't know. So that's flattened. See, you can see a bit of a animation where the building, the ground kind of flattens, but not a great deal. In this particular case, that's okay though. So I'm going to get them to build that stockyard there. So then we'll start to be able to store like the logs, the stone in here. Jeez Louise. That was pretty brutal, that lightning strike. It's interesting when they get dehydration. Because I mean, I've got 2 wells over there. I think surely you just... all you have to do is just walk to the well. Each of these 2 wells has got 250 water. Why didn't you just go there? Is that the person with dehydration? So she doesn't have any ailments. But that person does. So Tomac has got... Tomac's not feeling very well. Oh dear. Yeah. He's sick. So he's the forager. But he's not well. Well, yeah, not well because he didn't go into the well. So at the moment there's nobody collecting anything. We're just about to start getting into spring. So he's wandering around. So that's where he lives. He must live over here. Ah, right. So he's unable to work because it's not quite spring yet. Right. So it's not to do with his ailment. That's all right. Okay, fair enough. Ah, no. Now that's interesting. I was always under the impression that they would actually live in this shack, but he actually lives over here. Now, Fiona over there actually lives there. Ah, now that's interesting. So they don't actually. Ah, that completely flips things over. Because I was always under the impression that some of these buildings were actually being lived in. Right, in which case, he's over there, so I think what I'm going to do comes under resources. So I'll get them to build a water well over there and there. Now, even though he, or rather she, who's doing the fishing, she needs access to water, so I think what I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to, even though they're right actually next to the water itself, I'm going to give them access to a water well, but it's too steep. So I have to try and flatten things out again. So we don't have that many people there to get all this work done, I must admit. So we need 3 more logs. Alright, okay, so that's the logs done. So now the builders come in to finish the work off. Right, so now we've got our storage. So, although that storage cart's full, we'll still try to put things like, hold on. There's a predator. Oh, it's a bear. Are you running away? Yeah, this one's running away. Right, this is not good at all. So get him to attack the bear, or her to attack the bear. So she's brave. She's a firewood splitter. Why not? I wonder if I can select other people. There's nobody close by. I mean, this is a bear, for crying out loud. He's going to end up... Oh no! Oh, she got mauled by the bear. Where is everybody? I think there's 3 people. See, the trouble is they're going to wreck that. I know. I mean, I've got problems. I've got no problems. It's already warning me now. You know, if I can get more people to attack a bear. I mean, this is nuts. You're supposed to just run away, but the trouble is they're going to wreck this person's house. Right, that's enough. Just leave it alone. Now, the only drawback is we don't have access to a healer until we get to tier 2. Oh dear. I know. I'm not at tier 2 yet. Uber. Oh, they've died. Died of their injuries. Right. So we're up to 10 of 2. And see, this is the thing. Somebody dies. The actual jobs don't get automatically populated. So I've got to keep remembering to come back to the professions and filling in the missing job roles. Otherwise it just stays like that. It doesn't seem to automatically replace people for whatever reason. Although I must admit we're going to struggle anyway because we don't have many people. So in which case I think that's what I need to do. I need to start attracting more people into the area. So I've got one there. May as well chop that building down there. Oh, that's too steep. Okay. Try and flatten that area there and there. Because to get up to the next tier, we need 30 people. So yeah, so I don't have many labourers because we're starting to populate jobs. We don't have many labourers and we don't have many builders either. That's the downside. So we've got plenty of firewood, so I'm going to cut back on the number of people doing that. So there's one person in there, one in there. I mean, I could really do with more food as well, but again, you need more people. It's always a juggling act of like, you need more people, but you need more food to be able to cope with more people. Just speed this up while they're all busy doing whatever they're doing. So they're busy chopping this place to bits to make room for a well. We've got plenty of stone, reasonable. I think what I'll do is I'll get them to clear some more trees down. I mean, they don't seem to complain if there's a lot of work to do. You don't get some sort of like warning. It's no sort of like indication that suggests what happens when there is too much to do, what they prioritise, for instance. Okay, so they are, let's see, are they the labourers? Okay. So you've got some firewood in there and we've got some logs in there, so that's okay. So I'm just going to leave that in the area. Now one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disable this option to store water. That's something I've found. It's not in my interests to store water in these places. I can't, for whatever reason, I can't sort of like do a large selection and say like deselect every item. Say like, say for example, all I want to do is store coal in here. It's a bit frustrating in that I can't get it to select everything and then allow me to deselect them or select them all. I've got to pick out individual options. So when there's certain places where you only want to store certain things, it's very, very micromanaged, which is annoying. But hopefully that's something I'll sort out. Right, so I need a lot of people to try and take this wolf out because they're going to run. At the moment, that person is a forager. Yeah, and they got injured. But at this sort of stage of the game, all I can do is try and get a lot of people to try to get involved. The more people who are involved, the quicker they'll take the wolf or bear down. Ah, so they were killed. So again, I'm going to have to go back to the professions because it doesn't automatically populate the forager position for some reason. But anyway, at some point I'll start taking the resources. So we've got quite a bit of food in there. Yep, okay. Right, looks like we finished that one over there. So if I get them to put that over there, it gets me up to 16. I'll try and get that one in there, assuming they can flatten that area, and then that'll get me up to 20. I do want to put houses on this side, but the case is there's buildings I want to put in the middle, and I want to make sure I've got enough of a gap. So at the moment, I'm just going to fill this side in. I could swap it over, I suppose, and get them to put the houses on that side. I suppose. I don't know if I'm doing it that way. So I'm just pressing the tab key, incidentally, just to rotate these. So where's the... I can't quite tell where the arrow is. Right, it's the arrow's pointing in that direction. There. So I'll put that one, say there. That gives me a marker for the next building. So yeah, I need more houses because we need to be up to 30 to expand this to tier 2. So since somebody's died, clicking that one for some reason, I've got to go back and manually fill in the job again. So I could really do with a healer. They can help deal with those things. They can deal with the injuries from the predators. They can deal with the any sickness that they get. But at this stage of the game, I just don't have access to that. So let them keep toggling on there. So I mean, the trouble is, I just don't have that many people. I've only got 3 labourers. Right, so now they're complaining that there's places where they can't store stuff. So this is pretty much full, and this can store almost everything. So we're going to have a look at the storage options, because now that we've built that, we've got access to other things. So for example, I can build a root cellar. That'll allow me to store types of food in there. So we'll just dump that down there for now. We'll get them to build that. So there's a house they just built, so we're up to 9 of... Oh, not again. I'm seriously tempted to move that foraging. Oh, except if it's a wolf. Where it's the trouble is, like, where are these wolves coming from? I mean, the hunter will attack a wolf, and then the hunter's better prepared to do that because they've got like a bow and arrow. Right, at least that's taking care of them anyway. So that's interesting, 9 of 28, because there should be 4. So there's nobody in there. Yeah, so that's the maximum. Even if I upgrade these buildings later on in the game, you can't get more than 4 people in a house. Right, so actually I didn't want to do that. I want to build another house. I mean, all these are going to get shuffled around later on anyway. It can be very fussy up. Right. Just trying to get these things lined up. I think that's probably more to do with my own keyboard than anything. Right, so I may as well get them to do that. So at least we've got the capacity to expand this out. So we're waiting for 17 stone. We've got plenty of that. Plenty of firewood. 6 months of food. That's not bad. Once that root cellar gets built, I think I might actually get chop that down. But once that root cellar gets built, we'll be able to store things in there, food to be specific. And that'll last longer. It doesn't spoil as quickly. So here we go. So these, you see all these people running in. The good thing about this is there isn't a warning popped up to say raiders have arrived. These are actually people who actually want to join the settlement. And it's an option, it's entirely optional, at least most of the time I've noticed, yeah. So there's 6 people, and you've got a choice, you can either accept them or you can turn them away. I've got the housing capacity for it. And we'll have to see if we've got the food or not. But I'll say yes, because I'm in really dire need of more people to do the work more than anything. There's a lot of things to get done. And labourers in particular are extremely important. So you can see, I mean, we've got 15 people, but 5 of them are adolescents. 15 of them are fit to work. Whilst they're all fit to work. So again, it's complaining there's something they're trying to store somewhere. There's just no capacity for it anywhere. I'm assuming it'll be like food, so once that's built, it should be fine. I mean, what you can do is you can actually speed things up incidentally. There's an option to click on prioritized if you want, and you can also you can lay down foundations if you want. You can put buildings in certain areas, and then just deselect that option. So it doesn't actually build them, so that would be a useful way if you want to sort of like structure things, place things in a certain order, but then hold off until you're actually ready to actually build them. Looks like they seem to be prioritising the houses. So look at that, we're down to 1 month of food already. Out of curiosity, if I go to resources, so that's how, yeah, that's what that option is there. I mean, I've got the option up here, which is to show categories, so it breaks things down into the categories. So you can see that food spoilage is Yeah, that's not too bad. This doesn't seem too bad, but to be fair, we're not actually producing that much food anyway. We don't want to just 48 meat. Jeez Louise, I think I could do with more do with more sort of like forages. But if you click on that, it brings up like a report, and you can get a breakdown into what's actually going on. So for instance, you've got your protein there where we've consumed 152, but 413 spoiled. If I expand that out, I'll go into a bit more detail. So most of the meat, almost all of the meat, crikey, actually spoiled. So we're not, doesn't seem as if we're actually producing any smoked meat. So once that's built, I'm actually going to get a smokehouse built. Because what should happen is we've got fish getting gathered. They'll get stocked here. Someone will have to then grab them and bring them back to the smokehouse. And it'll be the same with the actual hunter's cabin over there. Someone will have to bring them, well, the actual person who's doing the job. Probably go off and grab those fish and those bits of meat, bring them back, and then they'll start to smoke them. They'll get stored in the root cellar, and then it'll last longer. So it looks like that's getting full again. I need to give that a shove because it wasn't a problem. So at least we're getting into the next season. So it's up and down the actual food production. I'm noticing because now we've got the 3 months supply. One thing to bear in mind is that they can actually eat raw meat, for example, and they'll get ill. So unless you've got a doctor who can help treat them, that's going to cause a problem. So just double check, that should be a builder. Yeah, so builders are bringing the actual goods. So it's not the labourers who are. So they're chopping trees down. So it's, as far as I'm aware, it's the builders who are actually bringing the resources to the building site. So they've basically gone off, chopped some trees down, and brought it back to here. So the builder's gone over to here, and all they're bringing back is just a block of stone. Whereas the labourers, they're gathering, they're chopping the logs down and bringing them back to here. So is that another builder? Yep, so they've got another log, another stone block. Okay, so that's sorted that out. So then they should then start storing food in here. And what you can do, which is interesting, is to start adding barrels in. By having these, it makes things last longer. I'm just double checking what is going to go in here. Yeah, that's fine. It's just this one in particular I'm more bothered about because I don't want them to store water. Because what I found is if there's a fire, for instance, if a fire ever breaks out, everybody just grabs buckets of water, and then you find it's just too many and they just drop them on the floor. You end up with these places then start to get clogged up with buckets of water. So until they start taking it back out again. So like if you deselect something, they don't necessarily get taken out. They just get things get removed by whoever it is who actually needs them. The transport itself needs a bit of thinking. Probably improve it a bit. So at the moment everybody's chopping the trees down and so on. So let's have a look, see what we're up to. We've got, could probably do with at least another forager. So I'll have a look around. I mean, I don't want to intrude on there. Interesting thing, there's some greens over here, which we don't have. So that's the forager's shack. So if I put a plonk that there, we'll get a lot of greens and a lot of berries. Yeah, it's just berries. What's that one there? It's just hawthorn. And we haven't explored too much of the area. So I think that'll do for now. Just out of curiosity, I'll send somebody to have a look over there, but in the meantime I'm going to get this foraging put down so that I can at least get them to start gathering more food. That'll do for now. Prioritize that because that's a bit more important than anything else. Just get our road through to here built, so then that'll be a bit quicker because the thing is people actually are going to be living over here. You see, I mean, although there's going to be a road, and get people will just take shortcuts anyway. They don't care. Even if there's a road actually there, they don't necessarily use it, I've noticed. So sometimes you have to build, I think, the actual roads where the actual people are actually travelling. So as far as I'm aware, what should happen is this person's going to be gathering, you know, greens, berries, and they'll get stored here. And then if somebody wants something to eat, they'll either get it from the root cellar or they'll come all the way over to here. We're not at that point where somebody can actually come over here and bring things, the food over to here. I don't think that's built into the system. So they're full yet. Almost. Right. So there's no... Poachers are able to find space for raw material. That's what that's for. So... other storage that we've got. So we've got a root cellar. So what we want is a storehouse. So the storehouse stores practically anything and everything, I must admit. So I'll plunk that one down there and get them to build that. Well, that was done quickly. I thought it was going to take a lot longer. I mean, I told them I'm getting that used to this, like things taking so long. In endgame, where you've got just so much going on at this early stage, things are getting done really, really quickly, which is actually a relief, really. Right, so we've got plenty of firewood still going along, so we've just got one person looking after that to work, so that's not bad. Yeah, I'll just leave that there. I mean, really could do with it getting empty, but right, 2 new villagers have immigrated. Okay, so it seems that sometimes people will join your town and you just get that notification, whereas sometimes people will join but they'll have to ask for permission. Maybe it just depends on like the amount of people. Difficult to tell. So we'll get on with building that storage block there, because there's basically 3 types. That one's more for the food. If you can add more barrels in later on, things will spoil a lot slower. You can upgrade them as well. Yeah, help. This one's for your basic raw materials. This one's pretty much everything else. Because even this one will store food as well. You can see it stores pretty much everything. All sorts of things it'll store. It doesn't store the basic materials like these, I've noticed. But oddly enough, it will store food. Like these ones will. So there seems to be a bit of an overlap between these 2 buildings. So they're still complaining that there's not enough water. Anyway, we'll get them to clear that. If I can get them to clear that out, that'll be a bit better. So we need 30 people. I don't think we're at the point where we're producing any planks, you know. We go to resources. We can now get a soap and a soap pit, so they'll start producing planks. I'll plunk that down. I think this is probably the first building that's got this red surrounding around it, and that's to do with the desirability, because it's toggled up the overlay for housing desirability. You can see at the moment Those ones that are reasonably close are running at about 11%. As I bring this closer and closer, you'll see it'll start to turn red, which makes these places less desirable to live in. And when you want to progress in the tiers for these towns, you've got to have certain types of houses and they need a certain desirability level. So you've got to be careful where you place buildings like this. I mean, if you go into the building menu, let's close that. You can see that it's actually showing you for the saw pit there's 2 red arrows pointing down, meaning this is a building that's very undesirable to be living next to, same as the firewood splitter. So I want to build this, but it's then again the place is too steep. I'll get them to see if we can flatten that area out. Hopefully I can get them to do that, and we'll be able to get that built, and then we'll start getting access to the planks, because I do need access to planks to be able to upgrade this place. Stone's okay. Still haven't built the market yet, so that's something I should do. To build the market, so that's Cannery, we haven't built that yet. Amenities and services, so the market needs that sort before I can do anything. So we're at the fastest speed we can go up, which is ×3. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long. We'll get that done, then we can get our actual saw pit built. So it goes under resources again. So see, that's flattening up. Yeah, that's flat. Right, so get me to build that. Yeah, that's where they're saying that it's starting to get time to build the market. So I'm going to take a little box there because I want that prioritised. Oh, looks like a hunter hat. There's one shooting deer over there. So that needed 25 logs. Not too bad. We'll have to get them to chop more logs down. I don't want to touch the logs over here because I don't know the trees over here because it might affect the deer. I don't know whether it does or not, but I'll play it safe. So we're up to 19 people, so we should have a good supply of labourers to go and chop all those trees down. Oh, cool! Now that's open. So it's interesting that when you build a building, it automatically populates a certain number of people. But the trouble is, if people die, you've got to keep on top of it. And plug the gaps if there are any. Right, so they'll go and they'll start chopping them more logs down. I mean, at some point we'll start to get into like work camps where you can actually leave people permanently to chop things down. The only catch I'm finding is that there's no way to. It's like there's no forestry profession. There's nobody who will actually go around and replant the trees, and it's not part of their feature either. All they do is they just go around and chop trees down. They don't replant trees. There are some trees that will regrow. You'll see there's like little trees around here that are growing. And you can actually get these labourers configured, and they're set up by default, whereas they only chop down mature trees. But the trouble is they'll go through so many trees, they'll just clear an entire area. So you end up having to manually put the trees back yourself, which is a bit of a pity. I think they're just complaining about that cart because it's full. I mean, there's places down here where they can do it. So I think what I'm going to do is, because of that, I'm going to move these down to here. I think it's causing a bit of confusion, so I'm going to deliberately move this down to here, out of the way. But I do like that because it's kind of like a mobile storage. You can move around, so it's useful to be able to put resources in it and then take it somewhere where you need to do some building. On the other hand, if you're going to be chopping trees down, chopping the rocks down, you can take it near that area and we'll put everything into the actual cart. So because I've moved that cart, they're now having to come all the way down to here to actually put all the stone in the actual building. Oh no, predator. Oh, it's a bear. Right, everybody pile in. I need everybody. It's chewing on the... This is no good. It's chewing on the building. Jeez Louise. So what's in here? It's interesting because there was nothing in. So there was a villager and the building got attacked. Yes, there was nothing in there. I could have understood if it might maybe have gone to the root cellar where there was food, but it just went to the storehouse for some strange reason. Right, we're heading into winter, so we've got about 2 months supply of food. So this forager here, they managed to get about 120 greens and 80 berries. That forager got 86 mushrooms and 80 berries. And our hunter got over 400 meat. Fisher person that we've got, she got over 212 fish. Right, so we've just got to survive. So at the moment we're only getting fish. That's interesting that there's nothing's... Ah, that's it, because there's nothing's being smoked. So we've got that. We need... Go back to food. What I can do is, seeing as that's next to the root cellar, and I'll put that on this side of the road. I mean, I'll be moving all of these things. This is just pretty haphazard what I'm doing. So the plan is to make a really, really big town. I want to be able to expand in all directions, essentially, with the housing. So all of this will have to move at some point. It's just, we've got to start somewhere. So it looks like we're going to get into the spring. So that's not too bad. So we're into year 5. 22 out of 32. So still need to keep plugging on to get more people. But now we've got our smokehouse. So what they'll start to do is they'll go off and gather. There, that's that person there, you see. They're actually going to go off somewhere, find meat, or just grab some fish from there. Grab some firewood, and now starting to smoke that. So that smoked fish will actually last a lot longer for them. But yeah, it's not too bad. Still lost some people due to predators. We need to start thinking maybe, you know, fences as well, because you can put fences up to keep better things out, or you can just try and grab as many people as you can to try and take those predators down. But still not quite ready to do tier 2, because that's all for another episode.